Hello everyone, welcome for this lecture. Okay, in the previous classes we have studied the power system stability. Under that we have studied the steady state stability. Today we will see the transient stability. As we know, in our power system stability we have two types of stabilities. One is steady state and another one is transient stabilities. Steady state stability means a small change in the system, like a load or a small fault occur on the system. The system has the ability to restore or return back to a normal condition. Okay, so whereas a transient is sudden change and as well as a large change in the power system. Okay, we'll study this one by one. Okay, let's see what is a transient stability first. As we have studied in short circuit analysis, I would have studied with the graph. Okay, as transient period we have seen, so that is nothing, that only we are going to see as a transient stability of the power system. Okay, so this refers to a maximum power possible to a point without losing stability with a sudden and a large change in the power system. Okay, so there is a sudden disturbances on a power system occurs when the rotor speed, so when this is such a large disturbances occurs on the power system, what happens there is rotor speed and the angular difference is delta. Okay, so these two undergoes a very fast change whose magnitude are dependent on the severity of the disturbances. Okay, these two are going to change rapidly, that is the rotor speed as well as the angle delta. Okay, so for such a large disturbances, change in angular differences may be so large that the machine may fall out of the step. Okay, that may collapse. So therefore what we have to do is, so this whatever transient stability we are going to see, this predominantly dependent on the dynamic condition of the synchronous machine. Okay, we'll study first, based on this we'll study first dynamics of the synchronous machine. Okay, let's consider for this for a synchronous machine, let's consider kinetic energy of the rotor is, so kinetic energy can be given by half I omega square. Okay, so where here I is the moment of inertia in kg meter square and omega is the angular speed in radian per second. Okay, so then we'll define angular momentum as indicated by m, capital M, equal to I into omega. Okay, so therefore your kinetic energy can be given by, see in this I omega, 1 omega can be written as I 1 omega is equal to m, so half m omega joules. Okay, this is a kinetic energy, right? So instead of having the moment of inertia, see now instead of considering the moment of inertia of a synchronous machine for a dynamic studies, it is more convenient for us to study inertia constant. Okay, so let's see what is this inertia constant and how it can be defined. This is defined as the ratio of stored energy in a megajoules, okay, to the machine rating in MVA. Okay, that is mega volt ampere. This is the definition of inertia constant. So let's take G as the rating of the machine and GH as the stored energy in a megajoules. Therefore we have what we can write is GH can be equal to KE, that is kinetic energy. Okay, that is also energy. So GH will be equal to half I omega square. So what we can write is, this one can be indicated by this formula, GH is equal to half m omega in megajoules. Okay, so I hope you know how to write this, we have written earlier. Okay, so where here now as we know, omega is what, 2 pi f, right? It is in radian per second. Okay, in electrical. Okay, so radian per second, if you'd like to convert that into degree per second, what we are going to do is just multiplying with with a pi, sorry, 2 pi can be written as 360. Okay, 360 into f, this is degree per second. So this value we are going to substitute in this equation, that is GH is equal to half m, in the place of omega we are going to write 360 f. Okay, so simplify this, 2 ones are 180. Okay, so then it will be GH, so m will be equal to, this m will be equal to GH divided by 180 into F. So this its unit will be megajoule and megajoule second. Okay, this 1 by F, right? So 1 by F is nothing but your T. Okay, megajoule seconds in electrical degrees. Okay, remember what happens here is this M, it is also called as inertia constant. So H also inertia constant, M, and M is also inertia constant. Okay, most of the time it is called as inertia constant, okay. So related to this, we have in this equation two inertia constants, that is H and M. So for the stability studies, it is necessary to determine both. Okay, we are going to determine M. This is which is depends upon the size and the speed of the machine. Okay, but instead of H, H has the characteristic value of a range of values for each class of machines. Okay, this will be chosen. Okay, and now we'll see the swing equation. As we have said, when the sudden and a large disturbance occurs on the power system, there will be rotor speed as well as your delta is going to change rapidly. So what we can say is, when this angle is changing, so you can say that angle is swinging between the rotor as well, it is between the rotor field. Okay, so we'll study what you mean by that swing equation because of this reason, right? So your delta is changing rapidly. Okay, it's moving to and fro. Okay, so because of that reason, we'll study the swing equation. Remember, this swing equation is studied for the stability analysis purpose. Okay, so we'll see this swing equation. The load angle, or you can say it is a torque angle, delta can be said, okay, depends on the loading of the machine, right? So larger the loading of the machine, then larger is the value of torque angle. Okay, suppose if some load is added, then the rotor will be decelerated, and some load is removed, then it will be as accelerated. Okay, so this is, we can say, right, it is said that the rotor is swinging with respect to the stator field. Okay, the equation describing the relative motion of the rotor angle delta with respect to the stator field as a function of t is called as a swing equation. Okay, so therefore we'll consider a generator as shown below. So this is a generator. Okay, when you consider this, you can observe here. Consider the generator. It receives a mechanical power. Okay, it receives a mechanical power which is indicated as PS. Okay, and as a torque TS is produced, right? As a torque TS, and the rotor speed omega. Okay, starts rotating as omega via shaft from the prime mover. Okay, it delivers electrical power. Okay, it delivers an electrical power PE to the power system network via bus bars. Okay, the generator develops electromechanical torque, that is TE. Okay, in opposition to the, you can observe, in opposition to the TS. Okay, this is a TS, mechanical torque, and this is a electrical torque. These two are opposite in nature. Okay, we'll derive the equation for this. Let's assume that, so your windage and friction losses are not there. Okay, negligible. All right, so in this condition, we'll write the accelerating torque on the rotor, that is TA, will be equal to difference between these two, that is mechanical torque and electromechanical torque. Okay, so TS minus TE. Let's call this equation number 1. As we have said, TA is the accelerating torque, TS is the mechanical torque, and TE is the electrical torque. Okay, let's multiply omega with this equation on both the sides. What we get in this left hand side, omega into TA equal to omega into TS minus omega into TE. As we know, when you multiply torque and speed, angular speed, we get a power, right? So with respect to that, omega TA is a PA, accelerating power, omega TS is the PS, mechanical power input, omega into T is P, electrical output power, assuming that power loss is negligible. Okay, therefore what we can write from this equation is, so PA will be equal to PS minus PE. Okay, by this equation we can easily say that it is PA equal to PS minus PE. But under steady state condition, what happens, this will be balanced one. Whatever you have given input power will be equal to your output power, that is mechanical power will be equal to electrical power, therefore acceleration power will not be there. Okay, but when this balancing is disturbed, okay, PS and P balance is disturbed, then the machine undergoes dynamic condition. Okay, that is given by PA, right? PA is nothing but TA into omega. What is the torque then? It is I into alpha. Okay, so here is just to make a small arrangement, I omega into alpha. Okay, as we know I omega is the m. Alpha, instead of alpha we'll take a d square theta by dt square, where alpha is the d square theta by dt square. It is the angular acceleration of the rotor. Okay, since the angular position theta of the rotor is continuously varying with respect to time, it is more convenient to measure angular position. Okay, so instead of going for a delta and speed, what we can do is we will discuss the angular position, that is the theta. Okay, since it is continuously varying with respect to time. Okay, for a more convenient, we are going to measure this angular position and velocity with respect to synchronously rotating axis. Okay, you can observe here, this is the omega naught with respect to it is taken as the reference. Okay, this is your rotor fields. Okay, and then what happens here is this total angle is theta. Okay, total angle is theta. It start rotating, means varying continuously. Okay, so this is a delta angle. So by this graph what we can write is, okay, we can infer that delta is equal to theta minus omega naught into t. Okay, so what is this? Total angular position will be equal to what? Rotor angle plus the velocity of the machine with respect to time. Okay, so therefore this equation we can write. So once we have taken this equation, here we can define what is omega naught is the angular velocity of the machine with reference to the rotating axis. Delta is the rotor angular displacement with respect to the stator field. Okay, now we'll take the differentiation of this equation with respect to t. Then when you have taken differentiation, d delta by dt equal to d theta by dt minus omega naught, because omega t is there, so omega naught t is there. So if you are differentiating with respect to t, it will be omega naught. Okay, so this equation again you differentiate with respect to time, then it will be d square delta by dt square, which is equal to d square theta divided by dt square, but speed now reference minus omega naught will be equal to 0, right? Take this equation. So from second, third and sixth equation, second is PA is equal to PS minus PE, third is PA is equal to m d square theta by dt square, and sixth one is this equation, that is d square delta by dt square, which is equal to d square theta by dt square. So what we can do is this d square theta by dt square, in this equation we can substitute that, right? That is m d square delta by divided by dt square will be equal to PA, right? So but what is a PA? PA is nothing but PS minus PE. This is your swing equation of a synchronous machine. Okay, so once you have taken this, as we have seen, if a machine is connected to an infinite bus bar, right, then what is a PE? PE will be equal to E into V divided by X sine delta. This is indicated as PM sine delta, where PM is equal to this term. Okay, so in the previous equation, okay, P in the place of P we can substitute this equation, right? M d square delta divided by dt square equal to PS minus this equation. Instead of P you can take this, right? PS minus PM sine delta. Okay, this is also your swing equation. Okay, and once you have got a swing equation, we need to draw the graph. Okay, that is called a swing curve. Okay, what is this swing curve? The solution of this swing equation gives the relation between the rotor angle delta as the function of time. Okay, the plot of delta versus time is called as a swing curve. Okay, so this is cannot be done it is very tedious task to do it, but normally we have step by step methods to solve this equation, that is called as like Euler's method and Runge-Kutta method. Okay, this one we will discuss in the next semesters, means when you are studying power system operation and control, there we are going to analyze these two. Okay, anyhow, by applying this we can take on a small curve of this which is already done. Okay, we'll see. As we have said, a swing curve is used to determine the stability of the system. In case delta is increases indefinitely, then it indicates that instability of the system. Whereas if it reaches and it reaches to a maximum and start decreasing, then it shows that the system will not lose stability, since the oscillations will be damped out, okay, with respect to the time. Therefore, what we can say, under this condition the system will be unstable, and when d delta by dt equal to 0, that time your system is stable. Okay, when the system will be unstable again when d delta by dt it is greater than 0 for a long time. Okay, this is about your transient studies. Okay, thank you.